Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael and we talk about all things related to investing and personal finance. In today's video we talk about how to find your investment strategy, and I talk a little bit about how I found my investing strategy, and that it's probably that I'm not at a state where it's actually everything is perfect. However, I go into details on how it developed and what my current plan of an investment strategy is. Before I do that, just want to mention that in the future videos I'll probably talk a little bit more, so the videos will go more in the direction of talking about disruptive, innovative companies, because that's a field that I'm currently researching a lot and where I'm spending a lot of time reading about companies that are in that field. And so I might do a lot more videos in that area. So I hope you like that. Let me know in your comments below if you are interested in those type of topics. Also, click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see future videos like that as well. And yeah, let's get right into it. So talking about the investment strategy is obviously something that is very important, and I think that's one of the most important things you should do and have to do before you start investing. Thinking about what you want to achieve and thinking about how much money you can set aside and how regularly you want to invest, and also for how long you want to invest. And all those things obviously have an impact on your personal investment strategy. For me, for my personal situation, I've decided that I'm obviously looking to invest long term. I'm not in a position where I have to or want to gain some investment income right now, but want to grow a portfolio that is getting to a bigger size so that I can utilize that money in the future and that I just grow my overall portfolio size. And therefore, I'm trying to invest into growth companies more than I do invest into companies that already pay out a dividend or that pay out a high dividend, because I want to participate in the future growth of companies. And yeah, and that leads me into the situation to talk about in what field are the companies that are currently investing in. And before I do that, let's talk a little bit about the way how did I get to that decision that I want to invest in those type of businesses and want to invest more into growth companies instead of companies that pay out a dividend. So it was certainly a bit of a journey. I started investing already many years ago without much knowledge, and obviously I gained that knowledge and I changed my way on how I invested over that time as well. And there were times where I didn't really thought about investing a lot because my personal circumstances didn't really allow it, or I just didn't have the headspace to think about investing. And obviously, if you create a plan, you should also not think about your strategy overall too much. However, there were times when it just wasn't right for me. And now, over the last couple of years and months, it developed more to an investment strategy that is obviously meant to be long-term and investing into really innovative companies, because I find them interesting. I really love technology. I love to see what companies are capable of and what companies can develop for future products. And that's certainly something that for me personally is the right way to invest. And there are basically four things that I always consider when making a new investment and basically following my investment strategy. The first one, as I already mentioned, it's definitely a long-term investment that I want to make. So if I invest into a company, I want to make sure that I can stay invested in the company for a long time. I wouldn't say that I would hold that company forever, so I'm not a Warren Buffett type of investor who buys something and holds onto it for its entire life. I want to stay flexible as well. However, it's certainly a medium to long term, in the medium to long term time range, I would say. So if the company is good and if the company is still growing and if there is still future growth to expect, I certainly would just hold on to a company for as long as I think it's a worthwhile investment. And the second thing is I still want to stay diversified. So even though I want to invest into future growth companies, that's obviously more risky than investing into established companies. And therefore it's even more important, I believe, to stay diversified. And I do that in two ways. One is that I obviously invest in a range of companies. So my portfolio size is actually quite large. I hold between 30 and 50 different shares. At the moment we are more on the lower end because I keep still quite a bit of cash. However, that can change and can go up a little bit higher. And the second part is investing and regularly investing in the broad market. So I still have quite a big part of my portfolio invested in broad market ETFs that are low cost and just capture different types of markets. And I regularly invest into those ETFs to continue to grow my portfolio that way. And the second part, or the first part, as I mentioned, is more individual companies and investing in individual companies. And there it's more on a basis when I think there is a new company that is worthwhile investing into. I initiate the first investment into that company and keep it in my portfolio as long as I think it's a good investment. So part one, long-term investing. Part two, stay diversified. And the third one is, that's basically more towards just individual investments, is making sure that the investments that I chose is that it's really a future-proof investment. I want to make sure that the company is making a product that is really something that can sustain for a long time, that will be relevant in another couple of years, or maybe even something that is very new and can develop into something that is and will be needed in the future. So I talked about Cloudflare and Fastly in some of my last videos. I believe that those companies just have a really good product, and that the future growth of those companies is not certain. Nothing is certain, but I think it's just very likely that those companies will develop to a very good position over the long term, because the products that they offer are getting more and more important, and especially focused on internet speed and internet traffic and internet security. That's something that gets more and more important over the next 3, 5, 10 years and even longer. And the fourth thing that is really important to me is that I don't invest a huge amount of money straight away into a new company, into a new investment that comes onto my radar. I always start with a fairly small investment initially to get my foot into that company, to get invested into that company. However, it's just a small initial investment, and then I track that company a little bit longer. And then I decide when there is a good time to buy more stakes into the company and to buy more shares of that company, or if I stay on that level for a little bit longer until I see that it is more worthwhile to increase a position. And if I see that the company is not doing so well, and that basically my initial thought of that investment is not as accurate as I thought it would be, I potentially can also lower that position in that company as well. As I mentioned at the beginning, just a couple of thoughts on how to find the right investment strategy that is suitable for you, and explaining what I do and what I did to develop my investing strategy. Again, if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot, and I'm gonna see you in one of my next ones. Until then, bye!